It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. Some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but soon they will realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend with Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. Every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, K-Man. Happy Thursday. How is everybody doing? Ooh, rainy, gloomy, lots of wind. Well, it's not quite raining at the moment, but the weather has definitely, that nice snowy, cold weather from up north appears to be impacting us a little bit. And so we're getting some of those conditions in the form of, I guess, officially it's a nor'wester. Kind of nice though. I'm enjoying it. Hopefully, not too many of you on the water are experiencing, as we get with these systems, any sort of ocean, what would we call it? Shoreline damage. Do keep us posted if you are experiencing that. Curious to know how many could potentially be impacted by this weather system at the moment. But Irvlin says it'll start snowing here soon. Oh my goodness. That'll be the day. I mean, never say never with all the crazy things that are happening in the world. Not likely to happen, but who knows? One day we just might see something a bit unusual like snow. Wouldn't that be something? If it ever snowed in the Cayman Islands. Huh. I'm enjoying it though. It's sweater weather. Makes you want to bundle up just a little bit. Now, I know some of you have winter clothes and you are looking for any reason to pull those out, but it's not quite that cold. I mean, a sweater, yes. Winter boots, no. But I know a couple of fashionistas. All they're looking for is a little gloomy day to pretend like they're in London. They're going to be pulling out all of the heavy coats and boots and everything to just look good. They just want to look the part. Well, Knock yourself out if that makes you happy. All right. So we do have some special guests joining us here in just a bit this morning. We're going to give them some time to get all sorted out while I just update the links as well. And yeah, then we're going to be off to the races this morning. Drink some water, honey child. Drink some water. Every morning they say you're supposed to start off with like 16 ounces of water. And I think to myself, really? Ooh, I struggle. I'm not going to lie. Water is the one thing that I really wish I could drink more of, but it's a constant struggle for me. But we'll get there. All right. So I'm just going to, like I said, update all the links here. And yeah, hope you guys are having a good Thursday so far. Tomorrow's Friday. Hard to believe that it is here already, but we're ready for it. Ready for the weekend. And it was a short week, right? So hopefully most of you haven't been too stressed out because you kind of got that little extra time in. All right, just updating the YouTube link now. And then I'm still sending them out to remind you guys that it's the same link every day, just in case you've forgotten, that you can just save those links. Some big headline stories this morning. Couple very, very interesting court cases, by the way. And also, I'm in court today. So I have to go for a case management hearing at 4:00 this afternoon. So I am going to be doing that. So yes, I always have to remind myself because I totally forget about these things. And so I've got people reminding me, girl, you're on the court list. I'm like, thank you so much for the reminder. Somebody's looking for their dog in West Bay. He went missing yesterday. You know, the funny thing is when he went missing, they said, oh, that's our dog. His name is, what's his name? George or Jorge. And he always does this every day. And everyone in the area knows him. Well, I hate to tell you, but Jorge might do that every day, but apparently he still can't be found. So yeah, I'm sorry, but you know, sometimes dogs start to roam, especially if you've not taken the time to fix him. I think that's exactly what's going on here. He's not fixed, and so he's on the prowl. Y'all know what that means. So I don't think anybody has Jorge. I think Jorge is just out trying to find him a girlfriend. And yeah, that's why you should fix your dogs, number one. And then number two, secure them properly for their own safety. I mean, Jorge could get hit by a car. My gosh, poor little Jorge. Jorge. So if you see this dog, he looks like a, what are those dogs called again? They're all the same grayish color. There he is, handsome little fella. I suspect he is, out finding him a girlfriend named Sally or something. I don't know. So little Jorge, come back home. Your owners say that they miss you. Look at his pretty eyes. He should have no issues finding a girlfriend with those eyes. He's so cute. I don't know what to tell you, owners. Be more responsible. Stop telling me that Jorge does this all the time. All right, if you see Jorge, please let us know where so we can advise the owner. Good morning, Senor Robert. Yeah, some of y'all act like you've never had a dog before. Dogs roam, and sometimes they roam very far. Very far. I'm telling you, the desire to mate can be strong. Get your dogs fixed, please, and thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right, honey chill. Hmm. Miss Vicky says, like some man, girl. Say less. Say less. What can I tell you except you're spot on? Honey chill. Yeah, don't give them a reason. The four-legged kind you can control because you can do the right thing by them. Take them to the vet, snip snip. And they're happier, they're healthier, they're less likely to get certain types of cancers. I can't stress that enough, how important that is. And also get your dogs microchipped. So somebody finds them, they can easily contact you as the owner. They were doing some free or very reduced price microchipping the other day. They had postponed it because of the situation with the avian flu outbreak, and then they rescheduled it. But I think I missed it because I wanted to get Zeus isn't microchipped, and I wanted to get him microchipped, but somehow I think I missed the date. So I will inquire a little bit about that. Morning, Strong Wilt. Irvin says, Auntie, the trick to drinking water is in the morning. Make it hot. Make what? Make hot something. What is that word? Hot and something. Cut 3 pieces of lemon ring. You would like it. I don't actually like hot water like that. I drink cold water. I know exactly who's listening right now. Miss Facey, my pharmacist. She's like, I keep telling you cold water is not good for your throat. But I drink, I'm not putting ice in it anymore, but I do. The only way I can really drink water is cold. I can't even really drink room temperatured water. Now I'm drinking tea, sort of, but the lemon slices doesn't really work for me. Morning, Patricia Blake. I think our guests are just about ready. They just look like they might be getting mic'd up a little bit. So we'll give them a few more minutes. Strong Wilt. Yes, I, for one, am loving the weather. Love it. I'm going to pull out a new sweater and put that on, I think, today. Earl Island Pearl, blessed good morning to you as well. So good to see you all here. Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're all set and ready. All righty. Beautiful. All right. Well, today we have 2 key figures who are going to be joining us. They shape the future of the Cayman Islands as elected members of Parliament. The Honorable J. Ebanks, who is Minister for Planning, Agriculture, Housing, and Infrastructure. He's got a lot under his responsibility. I'm going to tell you the truth. And Parliamentary Secretary, Ms. Julie Hunter, is also joining in with him this morning. Together, they're really at the forefront of some major national initiatives aimed at improving housing access, strengthening our infrastructure, and supporting local agriculture. So we're going to touch on a few of the things that fall under his responsibility today. Like I said, there's a lot. So we're going to try to focus on road safety and the national roads, public transport reform. Of course, there's been a lot of discussions about around micromobility, education and compliance, and then affordable public and affordable housing. Those are kind of the key areas that we're going to try to touch on today. And we really look forward to what undoubtedly is going to be an engaging discussion about the work that their ministry has been doing, ministries, including some upcoming projects, and what these developments mean for the Cayman community. So let's put your virtual hands together, everyone, and let's say good morning to our guest. Good morning.
Good morning,
Good.
Sandra. Good morning, Grand Cayman. Good morning to all the listening audience out there.
Yes, thank you so much, Minister, for joining us. And I should say that this is part of one of our CMR initiatives that we launched last year, which is called Ministry Matters, where the ministers and their, whether it's their permanent secretaries or even their chief officers, staff members, get to come on and kind of highlight exactly what it is that they have been doing. So we're very, very pleased to say that Minister, the Honorable J. Ebanks, is the first minister to come on for 2026. So he's starting it off with a bang. So thank you so much. We appreciate that. And of course, Parliamentary Secretary Ms. Julie Hunter also joining him as well. So
Good morning.
yes, good morning. And I guess we're still in the month of January. So I think I'm still
Yes.
by saying Happy New Year to
you.
both of you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
we
you so
have
much.
we have so many things. First of all, Minister, you have a very broad remit in terms of areas of responsibility. I mean, it's a mouthful to even say your ministry: planning,
It is.
finance, agriculture, housing, and infrastructure. How do you? The first question I have is how do you do it all? I mean, it's a lot.
Well, you left the L out of it, so you had the lands in there. So planning lands, agriculture, housing, infrastructure. And
Yes.
sometimes I end up throwing ports in there because a lot of people don't realize that ports actually falls under the ministry sometimes.
Mhm.
But Sandra, to be honest with you, I'm a person that the more busy I am, the better I work.
Mhm.
So I'm a person that's driven by stress. So the more heavier it gets, the more stress it gets, the better I work, I perform in it. I've always
Okay.
been that direction, so it keeps me motivated, getting things done. Always just happy to make sure that I'm delivering on tangible things that are affecting the lives of Caymanians and continue to push the things that we always wanted to see completed.
Mhm.
So when I was queuing up for some of the things for the ministry, not that I wanted all of them, but it was just a matter of there are some particular ones that I just thought that we could really influence and really get things moving a lot faster and get things done with.
Mhm. That's fantastic. And of course, I see that you've got your parliamentary secretary there, Miss Julie Hunter. Now, some of
Absolutely.
yeah, we'll talk about what parliamentary secretaries do just in brief, but I realize that some parliamentary secretaries are split between ministries, and I didn't know that really until recently, when I found out that Mr. Wayne Panton actually has several ministries that he works with. Now, Miss
Mhm.
Julie, good morning to you. Is this the
Good
only?
morning.
We know you're a first-time MP, so you're still learning, some of the ropes. Like as they say, baptism by fire. They just drop you in.
Yes. 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 Sometimes I feel like it's exactly that, baptism by fire. Just jump
Yeah.
right in.
Yeah, but it's good. It's great. Is this the only ministry that you are a parliamentary secretary for?
No, actually, I'm parliamentary secretary for Plahi, as we discussed already, and also education. And then I have a bit of heritage and culture as well. So
Ah,
different things that, more aligned with, my skill sets and my interests. So
mm,
yeah, that's kind of how they were chosen. Um, and so far, I have to say, thank God, it's going good, and we are doing what we have to do and
mhm,
helping the different ministers. So and as you say, 2025 was a learning year. This year, I feel like I'm just more going to be lots more involved and getting my hands even more wet than they already are. But as we go along, it's always a learning curve. But we have a good team behind us, so that's very, very important. I was thinking that when Minister J was talking, you were asking him how he gets it all done. He has a
mhm,
huge ministry, and he's a motivator, he's a go-getter, he gets things done. But then the team behind us as well, we have to give them kudos, and that's so,
Absolutely.
so very important. I mean, without them, we couldn't do what we do.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Hmm. All right, so I've been informed that we don't have radio this morning, and I'm happy to report it's not my fault this time. Apparently,
Oh my
I
goodness.
know, right? Apparently, all stations are off because Logic has a fiber issue. Oh boy.
Oh
Oh
my
my
goodness.
goodness. I know.
Not
This is, when we talk
not
about
good.
infrastructure, it's
Exactly.
important to
Exactly.
talk about redundancy. So
Oh
I'm
my
just,
Well,
goodness.
off reg doesn't fall under me anymore, but um,
yes.
uh,
So we're gonna just notify our listeners to please tune in to our social media feeds, so that they can, listen online. So we're still on cmrtv.com. The website is obviously operational. We've got Facebook, we've got YouTube, and even Instagram. So you've got options.
mhm.
So yeah, not to worry. Oh my goodness. These things happen, but I tell you, this is an important lesson as to why you got to have redundancy in place. And on that note, just
Absolutely.
just a shameless plug, CMR radio is coming and we will have more than one internet provider. You can believe that. So there you have it. Infrastructure being so important. So let's talk, Minister. One of the key things that we see here constantly, people are complaining every single week. I mean, I even just 2 days ago, I got another video of a driver, coming around the curb a little too fast on the wrong side of the road. We have some really poor driving on this island. I mean, there's no other way to describe what is happening. And as a result of that, we're having an average, the RCIPS says, of 10 accidents per day and a number of fatalities. The year before, we almost broke a record. Thankfully, last year we didn't.
Mhm.
But I know your ministry is really keen on trying to get to what they say, this zero road fatalities initiative by 2038. Let's talk a little bit about the National Road Safety Committee and strategy around trying to get to zero road fatalities.
Thank you, Sandra. You're absolutely right. We do just, there's no other word for it, but we just have some really bad drivers out there. And there's some things that I see happening on the road. I have to really scratch my head and wonder,
How they got a license.
yeah, actually, how they did get a license, or if they ever had a license before. Um,
Mhm.
One of the main things that the Road Safety Initiative has been pushing is, we're looking at strengthening the penalty system now and enhancing and creating a demerit point system, which
Mhm.
will be something very new. So you will actually, not to get too deep into it because I haven't brought it to caucus yet, but the demerit point system will look at almost like a three-strike policy going forward for individuals that are getting in accidents, individuals that are doing reckless driving,
Mhm.
um, and how do we actually look at um, slowing down these accidents that are happening every time that we NRA is designing roads now. They're designing it with more safety aspects in mind.
Mhm.
How do we slow down individuals? I the one thing that I found that works, and we can't do it on every single road, but is actually the speed tables.
Mm.
But again, they only work in the one section of area where we have that table, and as soon as they're off of that speed table, they're on to the races again.
Mhm.
One of the things that we will be looking forward in the future to is adding in the speed cameras. So there will be multiple speed cameras. There will be some that will be fixed speed cameras, but there will be cameras that the police officers can actually be able to move around and put in different locations every single day.
Mhm.
So you won't be able to just say, well, oh, well, I know a speed camera is coming ahead. I can slow down right here, and you can speed back up afterwards. And
Mhm.
not only that, but the system that we were looking at with speed cameras could actually detect whether you were speeding when you cross through from one camera to the next, because it's, it has the capabilities to know the time frame that you would put in to get from one camera to the other camera and know whether to calculate whether you actually was speeding to be able to break that, um, to break the law in between the two cameras. So there's a lot of different things that we're going to be looking at coming back. One of the main things that I've actually even asked the safety committee to look at also is pedestrian crossing. Um, the, I mean, Sandra, I see it.
Mhm.
I had it twice just last week. People are just pushing the pedestrian button and they just walk right out. Um, some of them don't give vehicles the time to be able to stop, to be able to let them cross. Then we have a lot we've seen where we had at least maybe one or two people have got knocked down on 7 Mile Beach Road there. And I feel that sometimes maybe the lights
lighting.
on that particular stretch of road gets blended in with all the other lighting sometimes that's up there. So
Mhm.
I've asked the NRA to start to look at is where we're going to have the lighting installed into the asphalt itself. So you're not just seeing the lighting directly on the one corner, it'll actually be
Mhm.
flashing directly into you. And some of the changes that we looked at also with this is because seeing that it happens if a particular vehicle or a high vehicle or a bus stops at a pedestrian crossing and there's a two lane, sometimes people don't realize that. And when they look, they're going around that one bus, not realizing that the bus stopped for someone.
Mhm.
And when you look, the person's walking out. I've seen that happen at Savannah in that location, right? So we've seen these things happening. So we're looking at how we're going to improve pedestrian crossing in the future. Our electronic vehicle registrations is another big one that we're going to be looking at, and strengthening our penalties.
Mhm.
This is something that PS is going to be advocating and helping me go through with, especially our demerit point system. We'll be getting together and having to bring the legislation in place. I'm going to put my neck out on the limb here to say that I am hoping that we can have all of this in place and ready to go by the end of this year. So
Mhm.
for all of my members in the background that are listening today, whether you're in NRA or whether you're in the ministry, we want to make sure that we try to have all of this in place for the end of this year here. So we would like to have this all ticked off of our books because I know this is something that not only the government but a lot of the enforcement arms and the also from the judicial arms have always
Mhm.
been asking for us to continue to look at how we're going to be able to enforce and with our traffic regulations.
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, obviously enforcement is key. Someone, who sent in that video a couple days ago said to me that they are really, I said to them, did you share it with the police? Thanks for sharing it with me. And obviously, I will do my part because, we post these publicly to kind of just show people some of what's happening on our roadways, which is a lot of people are still shocked when they see it. I'm not because trust me, these dash cams pick up a lot. It's just so wild out there. It's like the
Yeah.
wild, wild west. But they said to me, why should I bother sending it to the police? Because, are they even actually doing anything? As many videos as they see us posting, they're wondering if there's anything that the RCIPS is doing. Now, I know that the police commissioner, Mr. Kurt Walton, has been on the program before. And this is, something that he remains top priority for him. And he's very, very concerned about. And they've even said that if people catch it on their dash cams and provide it to the police, they will action that. Now, do you have any indications as a member? I know your ministry sits on the National Road Safety Committee. Have they actually been actioning some of the footage that has been sent to them? I mean, when it's obviously clear and it's black and white what people are doing on our roadways, whether it's violating the blue spot, we send pictures and post pictures of those people. Do you get a sense that the police are working on this already?
Well, I mean, I would tell you yes, right? They are working on this. Do I don't sit on the committee itself, so I don't get to see all of the stuff that goes in there. I only get to see
Mhm.
all the briefing that's come back and whether we need to make legislation changes or recommendations from what the committee is making.
Right.
But I mean, I would be very hopeful and say that yes, that the commissioner is taking these things very serious. And I want to, I mean, I've had individuals now sending me videos, sending me
Mhm,
license plates. And what I am getting a lot more of now is the behavior of our
mhm,
transportation system, our, and
mm,
I would say more or less our buses.
right.
Um, Whereas they are not doing their full route. I mean, just 6 o'clock this morning, I got a message from someone saying, "Hey, such and such bus, license plate number, didn't do its full route, going to in the north side, turned around, didn't even go to the Chisholm grocery store."
Wow.
So, like that number now, I'm going to be reporting that to the board later on so that they can actually be able
Mhm,
to pull the person in. I've had videos and pictures where buses are actually sitting at the public beach trying to pick
mhm,
up tourists.
Yeah.
That is a no-no, right? They're not a taxi operator. They're not supposed to be doing that. Now, I can't stop them if the tourist is walking along the road and stops a bus and wants to get on the bus to
right.
go from point A to point B. But a public bus should not be trying to solicitate to get tourists that's on the public beach to take them instead of a taxi. There's
Mhm,
two different
mhm,
licenses there, right? And that will be part of our enforcement enhancement when it comes to the bus operators on what we're going to be doing with the legislation changes with them. We're also going to be looking at adding in, I mean, sorry, I'm getting off of the road safety committee stuff, but um, we're
mhm.
going to be looking at the way PS we spoke
Very
about
important.
and adding GPSs into them, right? So that we
Oh,
can track
yes.
them and see the behavior of them, right? And we can also add we wanted to add in the dash cams into them,
Mhm, mhm,
right? And I'm telling everybody that listen, if a bus does not carry you to your route, do not pay that driver.
mhm,
He has to do his full route. So if he turns around at the Chisholm grocery store and doesn't carry you to Rum Point because he's supposed to go to Rum Point, do not pay that bus driver
mm,
because they need to do their full route. And it's mostly the buses that are going to the eastern side of the island that we're
mhm.
having the issue problem with. Those
Yeah.
that are going in town on the western side, they're doing their full route. We're having no problem. I'm not hearing really any complaints besides the ones that are stopping at the public beach.
Mhm,
But I'm
mhm,
telling people, do not pay them. I've heard incidents where people have been put off at Frank Sound and they had to go to East End and the bus turned around and went back because he saw 5 or 6 people standing up on the road.
mm,
Do not pay them. Get their license plate number and
mhm,
report them. We need a reporter. We need to hold these bus people accountable and they need to have some integrity with what they want to do. At the end
mhm,
of the game, they don't want us to put more buses on the road because they say there's not enough money to be made out there. But then I got buses that aren't doing their full route also.
Yeah,
So
and it still impacts our people trying to get, to work and so forth. So, you know, like the old people would say, six of one and a half dozen of the other. They don't
mm,
want more buses on the road, but the buses that are there sometimes are not doing their routes, and you know that is impacting our people as well. I would say when and ask a question about the coordination between the public and the RCIPS. If they're doing what they're supposed to be doing when these things are reported, I would say keep reporting because I feel that the message is getting through, and I know particularly Commissioner is very concerned about a lot of the videos that are sent in. And what I would remind them as well, Minister, is that going forward, there's going to be a lot more coordination between NRA, DVDL, and the RCIPS.
absolutely,
That's one of the things that we are working on to get those systems interconnected so that everybody can see, and it will be much easier for the when these things are reported
mhm,
than to be actioned.
absolutely, you're absolutely right.
mhm. Okay. All right. Well, we weren't quite ready for that, but I'm glad that you gave us those nuggets to
Yeah, we
show.
kind of.
Yeah, shows how busy you are, and that's amazing. So,
But again,
um,
all of this falls into our road safety initiative, right? What we need to
mhm,
do. So that's why we all just brought it in. And it's frustrating to know, that you know just before we got on the show, just to get that message from someone letting me know that buses were just doing this, and
Mhm.
there's people waiting on a bus stop at a bus stop there, and now the bus is turned around. So we're there's a lot of enforcement that's going to be done, and I'm telling you, it's the way the bus off people are driving
Mhm.
is another thing too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, sorry to go off topic there a little bit, but
Yeah, no,
it is
that's
just
okay.
part of all of our road code initiatives and traffic regulations that would need to be
Yeah.
done, enforcement side of things.
Right, but it ties right back into improved data sharing. That's what brings accountability,
Yes,
you
absolutely.
know? So
Mhm.
if we can get people to realize that, when you do something, it has a knock-on effect, and that there are multiple agencies and people watching, then, the accountability factor will improve.
Mhm. Well, one thing I think the public needs to know is that this road safety initiative actually isn't new. There is a national road safety strategy plan
Yeah,
that has been in place since 2023, and this particular one is from 2023 to 2038, which is that target date. And
right.
people can find more information on the website gov.ky/web and then /road safety. So get a copy of this plan, folks, and see exactly what the government's long-term commitment is to trying to eliminate road fatalities by 2038. Can we talk a little bit about and I don't know that this necessarily falls under you because you can see some overlap with some of the different ministries here, but the education, public awareness campaigns, the school outreach and community events. I think a lot of education needs to happen even before you get to enforcement. So we've talked about some of the enforcement elements. Let's talk about education now when it comes to what is being done on that front to get to safer driving in our roadways.
Well, thank you for that, Sandra. When you mentioned education, something just went light bulb just went back off in my mind. Me and the Minister for Education, Mr. Anglin, was talking recently about adding the driver's eds back into the schools and getting our younger kids back and be able to qualify and teaching them the road code before they get out of school, and maybe allowing a looking at changes where kids could actually allow them to get a license a little bit earlier, but it would only be able to be where they could drive in the day with their mother or parent or someone that has a full license, and be able to just make sure that when our kids are coming out of school, they're ready, they're trained, and be able to take the roads and know all of our road safety initiatives and know all of our road codes. But again, going back to the education side for individuals that are coming to the island, it's something that we really
We
need to
need to look
continue
at.
to push, right?
Mm.
Um, we
You
need to
almost need a
make sure
counseling before they get a license.
this is something that is I want to say that I looked in and I spoke to the director of DVDL one time. I said maybe we some of these individuals that are actually coming here when they go back to get their license renewed, maybe do we need to start to have them take their road tests back over? Do we need to make them go back through their written tests again, just to make sure they know what the signs are saying? Do they know what's
How to
updating
maneuver
of the new
roundabout.
roundabouts that are going on? Um,
Mhm.
you know, personally, I had a incident that happened in December where where we were just handing out gifts to the kids in Frank Sound, and the police was just escorting us also. And there was this lady just coming down the road, and the police is flashing their lights, waving them, telling her to stop. And she drives right across the police. The next police car has to stop and block her. And the
Mhm.
officer gets out and says, "Don't you see the lights flashing? You see me have stopping it?" And the lady says, "She says, well, I didn't know I had to stop."
Mm.
I mean, if you see a police car in the middle of the road and the officer is out there flagging you, and you say that you didn't know that you have to stop. I mean, that's alarming, right? To know that, I mean, that's the first thing. And you see a police car in the middle of the road, you know, you would want to wait until the officer tells you to come forward.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that was, I just said, you know, that's mind blowing that we have an individual that's driving on the road that sees a police car and doesn't realize that that person needed to stop to see what the police was stopping him by. So it tells us that yes, there's more education that needs to be done out there when it comes to a lot of the road safety initiatives. But
Mm-hmm.
again,
Also stricter penalties because minister, sorry,
yes,
it would seem to me like that person should have automatically have gotten a ticket.
I agree with you 100%.
Automatic, that should have been an automatic ticket, and that message should have gone out there as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so those are the kind of things that I think we could do to strengthen our enforcement and strengthen our regulations, you know, going forward.
And this is a good time, Sandra. Maybe it's a survey that we need to put out to the public.
Mm-hmm.
Let's, maybe we do a survey and see what what the audience says.
Mm-hmm.
Should we be asking individuals that are coming here and driving here that if they have to redo their the system at the end of the day? That's not my one.
No, that's we've got callers calling in already. Yes.
Yeah, whether do they have to redo their driver's ed when they're going back over to before they get their license, or do they need to go back and do the written test over before they get it? Now we're making the written test so much easier. You could actually do it from pretty much anywhere. So it's not like you have to come in there. But again, what we don't want to do is we may not want to and have an influx of so many people coming back in to do the written test over.
Mm-hmm.
But it would be very, I'd like to engage with the public on stuff like this. So it would be nice to know what the public really thinks on this, and maybe we can do a survey on that and see.
Mm-hmm.
As
Okay.
well as some of the ticketable offenses, because like
Yeah.
they might be able to tell you those individuals that we clearly catch breaking the law, don't know how to do a roundabout, causing all these accidents, and you can send in a video. The public might go along with us and say those are the kind of things that we think are ticketable.
Mm-hmm.
Once we can get your license plate number, that should be a ticket. Some of those things I think could as well be on the survey. Sandra, I don't know what you think.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's listen to our some of our callers and listeners to the program. One person says, "Morning, Sandy. Can you please ask MPJ if there are any plans to make changes to the driver's written test and to change new residents taking a drive-in and written test before getting a Cayman license?" So that person had sent that question in from a few minutes ago. We do have a caller on the line, so let's see if our caller is going to be weighing in on this. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hello, good morning, Miss Sandra.
Good morning.
Can't remember her name. Good morning, ma'am.
Miss Julie Hunter. Yes, good morning.
Good morning. I noticed when on the roads driving also, a lot of drivers do not have respect for our emergency services, especially police and the ambulance and the fire department. Can we do something about that also? Can you guys install a camera for our service vehicles, so whoever does not pulling over, whoever's not letting them pass, please give them a ticket, because that's highly disrespectful. I have to blow people out the way to say ambulance is coming off the road, come off the road. Like I have to set an example, like, I don't forget, this is Cayman, it's a small place. It could be me, you, one of your family members. They need to reach the hospital. They need to reach somewhere.
Okay.
Understand? But yes, I agree with the plan. Go install cameras, whatever that makes our roads safer, especially in the school zones. Also, nobody's not respecting the school zone. They're not slowing down when the flashing lights come in. Plus, they have no respect for the school bus when they take it on and off the children too. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. Some good suggestions. I know a few more people are trying to call in at that time. The phone line.
I think most of our enforcement vehicles do have dash cams, Sandy, but I'm not sure whether the ambulances, fire service do.
Yeah, I think every single government vehicle should, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, that's in this day and age, that is a no-brainer. All right, so we've got two. I've got two callers on the line. I want to ask you to make your comments direct and brief. 0123, you're up first. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. That last caller had very, very valid points about the community not respecting emergency vehicles,
Yes. Shocking.
and they should be penalized, absolutely. However, what I personally noticed in more recent times, probably in the last maybe couple of years, I can't be exact, but the sirens on our vehicles are not as loud as they used to be in the past. I do not drive with my volume in my vehicle very loudly at all, but my windows are always up, my AC's on. I usually have on Cold Hard Truth, Sabrina Speaks on the radio. And a lot of times I don't hear a siren until it's absolutely up against me. So I would just like to say that I'm assuming either I'm going deaf or the volume of the sirens are not as loud as they used to be. So if that could be checked into, that would be appreciated. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much. And that is an interesting point, because I'll tell you one of the things actually that I know when it comes to how we hear things versus our sight, our hearing doesn't extend quite as far as people think, right? So by the time you hear something like a siren, it's literally right on top of you.
Right on behind, yeah.
So, yes, and this is why drivers need to be constantly checking their mirrors. Like I tell people I drive with blinders, and that I don't see when people are waving at me and flashing me from other vehicles. I'm the worst for that sort of thing. But I try to be cognizant.
I put my hand up on that one too, Sandra. When I'm traveling with my wife will say that. She says, "Did you see somebody just wave?" I said, I'm like tunnel vision then.
Yeah, but I also try to check my mirrors, right? And I try to look in the rear view mirror, even if I'm driving straight, my side mirrors every once in a while, because sometimes you'll actually see emergency services way before you hear them. So just a bit of road safety to pay attention to all of your mirrors and make sure you're looking around. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, honey child.
Good morning. Good. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored beyond all measures.
Wonderful.
Good morning, Minister. Good morning, Miss Julie. How are we today?
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Minister, I was trying to put something to you on Radio Cayman when I was rudely cut off by OC, and that's why I called you and asked you to call me back. Now, my question, I would like to take this situation a little further. What are your thoughts and inputs, sir, on our vehicles parked on our streets creating hazards? What you have emergency system units coming into our communities, and some of the times they have to stop, get out, and if it's an ambulance, they have to run to where the patient is because of parked vehicles on our street. Fire truck, I learned late last year that they had to hit a few derelict vehicles parked in the street to get to a fire. I want to know I am not getting through to the police. The police is always planning problem. Planning is not coming out and addressing the issues that is happening in our communities. We have people who have turned their dwelling homes into apartment with no parking space. Nevertheless, the road should not be the parking. Our roads are made for driving, not parking. I can't get the police to adhere to the traffic law. If two vehicles cannot pass at the same time, it's an offense. It's a tickable offense. I cannot get them to intervene and ticket these people for the safety of our communities. We have where people have to be walking around parked vehicles into the street. That is dangerous, and I don't understand why they can't see that when they're supposed to be to serve and protect. I've kept taking my eyes and see the police themselves drove around a public bus no later than Monday night. On a corner, the public bus parked on a corner at Grescott, and the police came and drove around that vehicle and went about their business. I'm parked right there because then I saw the situation and I called the police. And the police called the man and tell him to move the vehicle. The man got in the vehicle and slipped it a little further up.
still in the junction of where you shouldn't park within the area where you shouldn't park is within a junction. So I really would like to know what is your thoughts on that, and how can we correct this matter? Because safety is the best policy. I love my people. I love to see my communities safe, and it's not happening. I would like you to take Watlers Road, sir, and tell me your thoughts on the situation with the parking. You got jet skis, you got boats, and in road space. Just last week, I asked NRA to ask the police for assistance and go in there with the police and have all of these vehicles removed out of a road.
Okay.
Road
Leave
space
us.
and boats and what have you.
Yeah, leave us there, Mr. Mealy. I think we got it. So the issue, Minister, which we know that Mr. Amelia has consistently spoken about this, is in the Windsor Park area. But I know the difficulty for the Windsor Park area is that, when Windsor Park was originally built as a development, as a community, it never envisioned having the population size that it now has.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people who own homes in that area have turned them into tenement housing, tenement yards, right? And so that's been an influx because once again, everyone has a vehicle. So that has an influx of all of the vehicles. So what is government going to do, particularly about an area like Windsor Park? I think Windsor Park is kind of unique.
It's not only just when individuals turn their home into apartments, right? I mean, you back in the days when the park was designed, and at that time you had one vehicle per household. Now, pretty much every household, everybody that stays in a house has their own vehicle. So where you had one vehicle for 5 people, you have 5 vehicles now in one yard. Years ago, we had. You remember when we used to have this, where they used to go around and they would actually clamp the vehicle tires, right? We had that in legislation, right? And then there was some uproar about it, and then they ended up taking that out and saying it was against the law with it. But to be honest with you, Sandra, what we really need to look at, and I've made a note of it, is that we need to put into the law where part we can have young Caymanians that want to get into the tow truck business that will be able to tow some of these vehicles that are parked in the wrong location, that are parked on the double yellow lines, that are parked in the handicap access points, and tow them away, put them into a pound, and then you have to pay to get your vehicle back. I mean, it's just that simple, right? I mean, that's going to be the only help because the police doesn't seem like they're going to be able to enforce every single thing that's happening in the particular in areas like that. The police has their hands full with dealing with everything else that's going on when it comes to crime and speeding and everything else. And now we're asking them to look at the way that vehicles are parked in neighborhoods. Maybe it's something that we need to change the law to be able to come up where individuals can start their own business where we put the tow truck service in and they actually go around looking at this. But not only this would actually work almost in hand because with electronic system and someone else that's not this data could almost be shared with a service where you see in New York where you or in Chicago, anywhere else in the where part they have these park people, they drive around and they look for vehicles that are not registered and insured, and they tow them away or they clamp them also. So a lot our new identifications that we tags that we have, the police cars automatically when you're coming on, they tell right away whether that car is not registered or not, and insurance is all connected in now. Maybe there's something that we look in this extended legislation a little bit more where you have to put that into where we can actually share some of that data with services like that, tow trucks and stuff like that. They'll be able to do that. And this would help eliminate some of these problems that we're having. Because I mean, thank God, I mean, I haven't really seen it as much going east as you do see it in the middle of Georgetown. And I think it's just because of how the density is, right? And how the place was built and now how the population is populated the center part of Windsor Park there. So there's thousands of more people than what it ever been before.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Yep,
have it.
it's
We have it
definitely
in vaccines.
overpopulated.
Yeah.
That is an excellent idea. Because when you really think of it, we're asking the police to do that, and I know that that is in the law. They're allowed. They have the authority to, but that's like a constant 24-hour monitoring system that you would need for the police to be able to do that. If they were going to pick up every vehicle as soon as it get parked in the wrong spot. I mean, I drive through Windsor Park, and there's hundreds of cars in one apartment complex on the sides of the roads. So that would be a full-time. It would be an excellent um, idea if somebody could take that on and do a business like that. Have a compound that these cars would be towed to, and you would have to pick up your car and pay for that. And then, of course, you're going to do that again next week and pay that $100 again next week. So that would be a deterrent. As well as I think we need to strengthen these, all of need to look into all of the people as well that are doing not only just the tenement yards, but even some of the developments that do not have enough parking.
Yeah. All right. We've got a couple calls coming in, so let's grab a few of those. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. Quick question or comment?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Jojo.
Good morning.
Ebanks.
Good
Minister
morning.
Jojo, you know who this is.
Mhm.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Sandy will tell you who
Yes.
it is.
Yes. Go ahead, Miss Lucille.
Yeah. I'm praying for you all, and I'm also praying for the Cayman Islands. And I tell you all, I know things are rough down there, but God will pull us through. He will pull us through. And I just want to say good morning to Jojo. That's why I call him.
All right. Thank you so much.
You, Sandy, not reading my post.
My dear,
anymore.
there's so many coming in. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day.
This morning.
Have
Guess
a.
who I missed this morning?
Who is that?
Raleigh.
Oh,
Raleigh.
we'll let Minister Anglin know.
Yeah, you tell him.
All right, dear.
Uh-huh.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right, we got it. We got the phones are busy. You're a very popular ministry. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program. A brief question or comment. Hello, caller. Uh-oh. All right. Well, while that person perhaps calls back, let's read a few more. This person says the double parking in Windsor Park is an issue, and the owners of the offending vehicles are less than accommodating when you ask them to move. We have another one that says there's some good suggestions from the people that teach drivers, which should be taken into consideration. And actually, I agree with this caller with cars parking along the main roads. I noticed there's a lot of cars now being parked along Denham-Thompson Road. And one of the things that we've also seen, Minister and Permanent Secretary, is that unfortunately there are a lot of vehicles that after they meet in an accident, they're basically being abandoned on the roadway, which is shocking. So, so many times I'm getting messages, oh, this has been abandoned for 2-3 weeks, a month. So can we look at maybe doing something with these accident vehicles that you have, you get in an accident, sometimes you can't move it right away, but you have 48 hours, 72 hours or something to get a tow truck to move your vehicle, because then it becomes an eyesore and a potential hazard on the road for other people trying to be safe drivers. All right, we've got a caller on the WhatsApp line calling in. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I lived in New York almost all my life, and now 71 feels like freezing.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
I can tell you that.
coffee. Vehicle situation. Certain areas of New York are very congested, and they have this thing called alternate side of the street for the street sweepers. The cars all have to be on the right while the sweeper sweeps on the left. Now, it is illegal to double park, but everybody kind of looks the other way because there's no place else to go. Sometimes even triple parking. So finally, that particular neighborhood was Washington Heights. But the city took an abandoned building, which there aren't too many of those, knocked it down, and made a multi-level parking area there. And then I lived in another neighborhood, West Indian neighborhood, actually, in Queens, and they don't have the parks and that kind of thing. But it was a kind of like an unwritten rule, and not too many people had driveways. But it was a kind of unwritten rule that the 2 spots in front of your house are for your 2 vehicles. And like the minister was saying, you know, a lot of homes have more than 2 vehicles. Well, then that's a problem. So what they did there was they had what did they do? Oh, the city widened the street. So then if somebody came by to visit, it was okay. It was understood that it was okay for them to double park in your area. Right now, there are 42,459 registered roadworthy vehicles and about 37.4 thousand that are unlicensed vehicles, but they're still here on the island. 80, that's roughly about 79,865, which is approximately the population of here. You know, it's about 1 vehicle per person, and it's only going to get worse. 2022, 8,000 vehicles were licensed, worsening congestion. And you know, it's not just the parking, it's the roads, it's the whole infrastructure. And I don't know. Somebody needs to have some vision and direction, not only for what it is now, but for the continued growth. You know, it's double parking, having designated parking spots. I don't really know what the solution is. That's not my field. But you know, the NRA where I live is I live like on we call it a cul-de-sac here in Cayman. They call it a close. There's a little miniature grass piece in the middle of my cul-de-sac. So if anybody runs out of driveway parking or road parking, they just park in the grass piece. So that works for my thing, but not a lot of people have that either. You know, so I really don't know what the solution is for right now, but I think that they also have to think with growth in mind, because the situation is only going to get worse.
All right. Thank you so much, caller. Appreciate it. Okay. We've got another caller in this line waiting. Good morning, caller. Brief comment or question this morning.
Sandy, I wasn't finished.
Yes, but Miss Amelia, you see how busy the lines are this morning. Sometimes you got to be quick, honey child.
Honey child.
Get to it.
Sandy Lauper, please. Thank you.
Final question or comment.
Minister, I also wanted, which I wanted to try to ask as well. I love what you did with North. I love what you did with Northside. Northside is beautiful. I love it. Oh my gosh. It's breathtaking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Notice roads are being done in East End as well. And I wanted to ask, I've been asking for so many years now for Eastern Avenue to get fixed. It is horrible. The streets on Eastern Avenue Road is completely horrible for years. I've been begging to please fix Eastern Avenue Road.
We have Eastern Avenue on the list, ma'am. So it's coming. It'll be done this year. I can tell you that.
It's coming. We've heard your cry, and it definitely is on the list, Ms. Amelia. So thank you for advocating, but that is coming.
All right. Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, folks. Please remember that the minister does have limited time this morning. We've not even gotten past the first topic yet, really. So we're going to move on from road safety. We get it that you guys have a lot of concerns. And perhaps what we can do, Minister, is try to get the National Roads Authority on here along with the RCIPS, because a lot of these things are around enforcement, even DVDL, improving the driver's licensing, test and process. So I think some of those agencies need to engage a bit more with the community. Good morning, caller. Brief question or comment this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
To your guests as well.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a quick question. I just want to say first, thank you to MPJ for having the guys come out to cut the overgrown lot that I messaged him about the day before. But I have, apart from parking, another issue that I have come across is that these overgrown lots are not being maintained by property owners, and they're, I guess, narrowing their roadway. And I've reached out to NRA. I constantly have to reach out to NRA to have them come and cut back the bush. But what could be done in absence of me having to call NRA or reach out to Minister J to have someone to maintain their property to not, narrow the roadway. On our street in particular, you can't see pedestrians or even other cars coming when the bush has overgrown so much into the road. So that's a safety hazard. I've personally been hit on my road because of overgrown bush. So stuff like that is also an issue. And it's something that I have been trying to work on for years. Personally, I have to keep calling to get it done. This last time I had to reach out to Minister J because I called NRA for months and I couldn't get it done. And once he got involved, it was done the next day. So I was grateful for that. But I shouldn't have to do that each time. I should have to keep calling them or messaging Minister J. The property owners, I think the responsibility lies on, especially because our road is a private road, should maintain it. So what can be done to hold property owners responsible for their properties?
Okay, good question. Thank you so much, caller. Appreciate it. Yeah, so I mean, I think every single one of us have at least one house. There's always that one in the neighborhood who refuses to maintain their properties, overgrown bush. And sometimes, NRA says it's not them, it's DEH because, it's rat infested, rodent infested. And, I think that there needs to be more responsibility on individual owners when it comes to property upkeep. Even if it is a lot that doesn't have a house on it, there should be some minimum standards. Like we had one in the neighborhood, coconut trees falling in people's cars practically every single day until I mentioned in the radio and they finally cut down 4 of the 8 trees they had, So it's crazy out there. It's like the wild, wild west. So a couple comments asking about the road safety issue. Someone said that driver's ed was taken out of the curriculum back in 2015. So I don't know why, because driving has obviously gotten worse. But one of the
it'll be coming back. I can tell you that.
Yes, one of the consistent messages. Leanna makes a comment about it. Says written test needs to be harder on foreigners. We see Leanna also saying. There's somebody else here making a comment about the Jamaican drivers being particularly really, really bad. Other people said, listen, we've got people from all over the world coming in and not being able to, they've never driven in their countries before. And then they come here and easily get a driver's license. But unfortunately, they're, even AL 2025 says people from Jamaica need to redo everything. Their driving is horrendous. Now, we're not going to pick on any one nationality, but I think it is fair commentary to say that unfortunately, for a number of different reasons, sometimes they've never driven before. Sometimes the driving culture, and there's something to be said for driving culture, in their country is very, very different. So they're used to overtaken, they're used to speeding, they're used to, ignoring the police and all this sort of stuff. And when they come here to our community and they're trying to supposedly integrate and work here, they bring that driving culture with them. Is there anything being done to address that aspect of it? I know that it's a bit sometimes of a sensitive topic. And normally you address driving culture through public awareness campaigns. Like, these are our road rules, any consideration for that?
Yes, Sandra, this is something that the Road Safety Initiative have actually looked at, right? And one of the things that we're going to have to be looking at in the future is this memorandum that we have with the UK, that allows in the certain individuals that are part of the UN to be able to come in and be able to be part of the driving here, to just allow them to be able to just get a driver's license, a Cayman driver's license, and move on. Whereas if they have a license from back where they come from, we're going to have to see how we can actually improve on that. And do we continue to go down a path? I think we're going to have to. I think we need to revisit it, because we see it's where it's becoming a problem. What I've actually asked the license department now is to look. I want to look at the behavior of drivers, asking the RCIPS and the whether, let us determine what nationalities are causing most of the accidents on the island. Let us segregate that, break that out. Let us see. Um, can you tell me more of, and then looking at the revamping our driver's license itself to identify individuals a little bit more differently on our license. So there are going to be some changes coming on there, but that data will actually tell us more on whether it is one nationality that is creating more of the problems, and do we need to strengthen up how we look at how we do our licenses with those? Are they part of this program, the UK program that we have part of, that are coming here and creating a lot of the havoc that we have here? So there are. This is something I've tasked them already, the license department, to act to go out and see how we can get this data to be driven by, and then we can start to make some more decisions, proper decisions, on how we strengthen our license department, and go back again about registering, whether you have to redo your tests over every time you go to get your driver's license renewed. If that's something that we need to continue to do, then it is something that we're going to have to look at. We need to, for some reason, we're going to have to continue to do what we got to do until we get it right. Right? And I am a person that thinks that we need to do something. We just can't sit and talk about it or continue to kick the can down the road. We may have to do something today. We may have to make an amendment to it next year, 2 years from now, or we may say, you know what, we did something, but quietly we didn't get it right. We need to make another change to it. But again, doing nothing is just as bad. So we need to make some improvements that we need to do. So everything that we've covered here today, from the cameras, from the education aspect of it, from getting involved, the kids involved in the school, which I know they'll be happy to know that some of them will be able to drive or get a license a little bit earlier, be part of their curriculum. This is something that we want to improve on. I've taken a lot of notes, Romelia. I will take back everything back to the government, asking them to, if this is something that they will support. If it is something that I can get the support of, we will bring a paper forward to cabinet to be able to put initiatives in place that we need. So we've covered a lot on road safety, and I don't think we got into national roads or anything else, any other topics, but
you can
it
see
seems like
it's a big area of concern.
It's a big area. We, not to throw in the mix, but I know the hot topic 2 weeks ago was e-bikes, right? What we're doing with those. So there's a lot of stuff that's been happening, and I want to just make it clear here today. The legislation for e-bikes wasn't implemented with this government. This was implemented either 2018, 2019, when it was implemented. But it was put in there. What happened is now all of a sudden there's been an influx of these e-bikes, and they're all over the place, and people are saying, hey, why aren't they being enforced? And now the enforcement arm is just tightening down on top of them. And now when they tighten down on top of them, then now I think what happens when the legislation was put in place, nobody looked forward to speak to the insurance companies to say, hey, are you going to insure these bikes? Because if you're not going to insure these bikes, then these bikes can't be on the road. We need to look at something else. So this government is just trying to correct the problems that was put in place from the previous government, because they had the blinders on. And now we're trying to fix this and get ahead of it. So it wasn't us that actually put this in place. We're just trying to facilitate to help the process to get it through, getting the insurance companies involved. And I must all I think I can go on the limb to say that I think all of the insurance companies are actually going to be able to are going to insure these bikes. We passed that, and DVDL is ready to register these bikes. So that was the other section too, is that this one law was in place, but they didn't talk to the other hand to make sure that the other side of things are ready. So when we hear now that this thing is being enforced heavily now and coming on, we ask the questions, well, we can't register them unless they have insurance. So then that's where the license department had to go back out now to meet with insurance companies to make sure that they're willing to do this and answer all the questions to get it done. But it's one thing that we found on our table, and it's one thing that the government just took on. And could we have did a little bit more PR work with it? Yes, absolutely. We definitely needed anything we do. We need more PR work with it. But again, it wasn't our mistake. It's a mistake that we're trying to correct.
All right. So lots of people, again, talk about nationality. Gabby says, are there any stats to say how many accidents are caused by Caymanians versus foreigners? Now, Gabby, we've actually asked this question before. And what I can tell you is the RCIPS nor the courts really are keeping track of this information by nationality. So again, if the data isn't available, you talk about, as we call it here on the program, the triple D, data-driven decisions. If the data isn't available, then sometimes you can't really funnel your message specific. Road safety is a matter for every single user of the roadway. However, we have to admit that there are some people who, again, have different cultural. Somebody said, Indian people don't tend to stop for ambulances. I don't know anything about that. But, if there's certain unique features to how people are driving, we can then curate, if you will, the messaging specifically for these different, drivers on the roadways. So let's move on. I mean, I think it's fair to say that we could talk about that multiple shows. So we'll come back to it in another day. Let's talk about some of the other things. So we do have a comment here. This person says, morning, Sandra, please ask the minister about a garage opening in medium density zone and residential zone. I have one operating in my area. In addition, DCI has issued them with a license. This area should only be homes or apartments. So this is the Palmdale area. I'm shocked to hear that there's a garage down in there, because that historically has always been a residential only area. So when it comes to zoning and making sure that DCI are not issuing licenses, and Palmdale is also an older community, so you have a lot of seniors that live in that area. What consideration is being given to the types of businesses that are being permitted to operate and get licensed for particular areas?
Sandy, again, we have a big ministry, but the license of trade business license falls under the premier, I think it is. But it's something we've made a note of, but I will get back to you. But if that person doesn't mind sharing with you the direct air location in Palmdale, I will be able to have the enforcement side from the planning aspect go out and take a look and see what's going on. But again, I do think the trade business license, when they're issuing license for people, whether it's for a garage or anything, they need to take an aspect where the locations are at. I mean, if you give someone a license to operate a garage and they're telling you that they're in a location at Palmdale, that should be a red flag right away. It's unless that area is zoned and there's an industrial commercial area or a residential commercial area in that particular area. I do think we need to be able to start to flag some of these that are happening. But from the planning aspect of it, we can look at it from an enforcement side of it to see what's happening out there. On the trade business side, I've taken a note for the premier, and I'll carry that back for him.
I think a lot of times what it boils down to, Sandy, is I don't know whether it's lack of staff, but a lot of the licenses that are issued, I think the staff need to go out before the licenses are issued and check the locations. I've gotten complaints as well in my area, in West Bay West, where a garage is being operated and the people cannot sleep at night because they go all hours of the night. So that's something that I'm working on. But apparently the license is given and they're not checking to see where the operation is going to be taking place. It's just you got a license. So they're saying, oh, well, I'm licensed to operate. But you're licensed to operate in a highly residential area, you know, that's unheard of. So I think we just need to, the enforcement arm needs to just be able to go out, first of all, before the licenses are given and check the locations. And if they're not in a commercial area, then those licenses should not be granted.
All right, some good questions. This person has this comment. I saw a few other people making it as well, where they are suggesting, and I think it's an interesting comment for sure, to get better compliance. An easy fix of the careless driving is to attach an addendum to their work permit, PR, and Cayman status. One warning, and the second offense, your papers are revoked. Wow. We have to keep our Indigenous Cayman safe and live in their country. So alive, in their country. So wow, that sounds heavy-handed, but these are the people, and this person is, themselves someone who's come here from Jamaica and been here many, many years, and she's making that suggestion. Something to think about. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning, Sunday. This is Debbie.
Morning, Debbie.
I've just joined in. So I'm not sure if this ground has been covered or this topic has been covered as yet. And I'm not really sure if this even fits into the remit of Minister Ebanks or not. But if it hasn't, I would really like to bring this into the public's domain and for the minister to take note, because I have noticed and I have gotten back a lot of positive feedback, not only now, but for, I guess, since the inception of his role as a minister. Minister Ebanks is very, very effective. He is effective, and it doesn't matter what district you are from. If you call him, he's accessible, number one. And if you call him, he gets the job done. And that would be across the board. You don't have to be from the District of Northside. As I said, I've heard many, many, many good things about him. So kudos to Jay. I went to school with your father, Jay, Johnny, and I'm very good friends with your dad. So you may not know me, but I was one of the organizers of the Riff Raff protest. P.S. Hunter, I want a personal thank you on air that we had an issue with in West Bay, in my area, particular Mount Pleasant, where there was dumping of a lot of material, and perhaps people were not aware at that point that there would be no Christmas pickups this last year, December. And I was standing by my back door, and I noticed you, in particular, just before Christmas, you had a government NAR truck, I think it may have been, or public works truck, I'm not sure, going around and picking up all of the mattresses, debris that had been dumped on the side of the roads. And you obviously made that your personal business to have that done so that all of our roads were clean for Christmas. So that's a personal thank you from me, living in the district of Mount Pleasant.
You're welcome. Yes, that was a pet peeve of mine, so I made sure that got done.
Of mine, but I didn't reach out to anybody, to be fair, because I was like, well, has someone else called? Has this been dealt with? And then you just showed up. And as I sit outside my back door that morning, and I watched you do it myself. I also said a personal thank you, and I'm pretty sure that you received that thank you, but I wanted to thank you myself. But moving on, something that I think that is near and dear to everybody's heart, and I don't know if anybody has been paying attention to this or if it's picking up traction. If not, it should. Lorna Bush has started going live on Facebook, and it has to do with the public access to our beaches. Our public beach access is on the 7 Mile Beach. All of our public beach accesses are now being blocked. For some reason or another, they're being blocked. Most of them now, they have more excuses than Quaker has oats. And whose remit does that fall under? I know it's the land.
Right here.
What ministry does that fall under?
Jay just raised his hands.
Right here. So it is,
Good.
yeah, I can give you a full update on what we're doing with that.
Okay, so let's hear the
Okay,
update, Miss Debbie. We'll listen.
because
Yeah.
I really, it's something needs to be done.
Thank you so much.
It's ridiculous. It's
Mhm.
past ridiculous. It's redunculous.
Yeah.
We have, very, not slowly, but we have watched everything that we have being taken away from us. And as a minority in our own island, we have no access to public beaches. And that includes the Ritz-Carlton, who are making excuses that it's a fire hazard. Well, when I drove by yesterday, they now have a chain link fence, not a chain link fence, but a chain link like gate around it. So if it's a fire hazard, not even a fire truck can enter in through there. So I really would appreciate your feedback on that.
Thank you so much, my dear. All right, folks, we are going to have to start wrapping things up here because I know the minister was scheduled for to go until 9 o'clock. I don't know if you have any little wiggle room in that schedule, but I know you're very, very busy, so we don't want to wear you out this morning. There's been so many comments and questions, but Minister, tell us about the public beach access because this is obviously a point of concern for Caymanians in particular.
It is. And yes, Sandy, I have a 9 a.m. with the ombudsman meeting that I chair in Parliament, and also Pia sits on that with me.
Yes.
But Sandra, last month, but just before Ms. Lorna's video came out, I had a meeting with my chief officer, and we were just talking about beach access. And one of the things that we want to do, and I was telling him that I think there's over 230 beach access, somewhere around that number. And I told him, I said, I want to be able to get all of the beach access cleaned and demarked, what needs to be cleared, and mark them out. When I said mark them out, I told him, I said, we need to be able to identify the beach access. So what we had plans on doing is every one of the beach access, we're looking to put a fence along them to allow people to know this is where there's not, I don't want this thing about, well, you can walk through here, this is your access, and then this is mine here. We want to identify clearly where the locations are, and we are going to fence every single one of these beach access off. So you know whether it's a 6-foot right away you have there, if it's a 12-foot right away you have there, if it's 2 beach access next to each other, whatever it is, we're going to demark them all with a, we talked about using either with a chain link fence or a wooden fence and putting up some nice signs. They came with a design of some signs the other day. I did not like that sign. I told them that I am a person, when it comes to beautification, if you see us entering outside, I love beautifying areas. And I told them, I said, when we put these signs up, I want nice signs to identify these locations, that these are public right-of-ways to the beach. So all of this is actually in the making. We're going to be cleaning up every single one of our beach access right throughout the whole entire island, from east to west. And we're going to identify every one of them, so nobody that can ever cross and say that this beach access is here, or it's being blocked off, or this, or it's being used for a fire lien for this hotel or whatever. I don't care what that is. Whatever right of way we have, we're going to identify, and it's going to be it's the public's right of way, and that's the mandate that we've taken going forward. There are 1 or 2 that I'm just getting legal advice on from the Attorney General on how we're going to deal with them. And as soon as I get that advice, I will have machineries in there ripping out what we need to rip out the area, and again, mark off the areas so that people know where they can walk.
Ms. Pat says, mark them with bright colors and easy access. We need a back to the beach day where we all use our beach accesses. Wow.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
We will have nice signs, beautiful. We will have the beautiful signs, and we will make them identifiable. So people know where the beach access are.
Because we do know that is definitely a concern, especially for us as Caymanians, because like Miss Debbie said, you know, you see so many things being eroded and taken away from you as a Caymanian. And that's one of the things that we're not going to allow to be taken away from us. And Minister Jay is very, very serious on this. He's already started big time, you know, and we have the right. It's a right. It's a right. So it's not like you can just put up anything you want in a beach access and say, you know, this is what I'm going to do as a hotel or a condo or whatever, you know. So he will get that taken care of. And despite the fact that he had started on this before the videos came out, I just want to say kudos this morning to Miss Lorna and those that are helping her to identify these kind of things and being proactive and brave enough to come out and say these and do these videos. I just want to say kudos to her and her team for doing that and to continue to highlight these things that are wrong and to help us as a government. I know she's very supportive and helping us as well. So I just want to thank her as well.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yep. So we do have to wrap up and say goodbye to our guests. We appreciate again the Honorable Minister Jay Ebanks and his Parliamentary Secretary Miss Julie Hunter coming on the program today. Island Pearl wants to know, when are you coming back? Because we didn't ask nearly half the questions we wanted to.
I was just going to say, Sandy, we had so many topics to discuss this morning, and we basically only got to one. So we have lots more material. We have lots more information to bring to the public. So we will definitely be back.
Yes.
Minister, what are you saying?
So
I'm happy to come back next week Thursday.
Yeah. So listen, as part of our Ministry Matters, I mean, they can come on as often as they want, but we do, you know, appreciate that they're extremely busy. So at least once per month, we're trying to get all of the government ministers to come on the program and update us and have an open dialogue and discussion with the community. You know, we've literally had consistently over 400 people listening to the live stream this morning. My apologies with the issue with Logic and the radio, but, you know, share this link with your friends, because your friends can always go back and listen. And I'm sure Minister Jay's team will be going through the show and looking at a lot of the questions that came up. So the next time the minister comes onto the program, I think we definitely need to talk about a few things around NRA and then construction. We had some construction questions coming in about, you know, what are you going to do with some of these rogue contractors who are really doing a horrific job out here trying to quote unquote build people's homes and putting them in immense debt. So lots of things for us to get to.
Yeah, he has a plan for that as well.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Minister.
Thank you for having us, Ms. Sandra. And if you don't have anyone for Thursday, I can commit for next week Thursday with you.
Wonderful. Yes, absolutely. We're not going to turn you down. That's for sure. We'll have you as often or as much as you'd like to come on. Thank you so much, Minister.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And yes, thank you, Parliamentary Secretary Ms. Julie Hunter.
Yes, have a good day, everybody.
Yes.
Okay. All right, very good. So we'll make some arrangements then to have him come back. He says he'll come back next week. I love it. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Yes, I think it might be $1 short and a minute too late.
Yes.
However, I did hear,
That's okay.
yes, Hunter, give thanks to Lorna. And I just wanted to also call back and say, I think that she should be given merit for doing the videos, for going on all of our public beach accesses and pointing this out. You know, it is her who started this, and I commend her, and I'd like to commend her publicly on the radio. The other thing, and the last thing I wanted to say, but unfortunately the minister has left, is that about 1.5 years ago, perhaps 2 years, I'm not sure. I don't think it's quite 2 years ago. I had done some videos of the entire 7 Mile Beach stretch of all of the condos that had up stone posts. I think they're just stone posts. I don't even know how to describe it. Just big stone posts where it blocked you from parking if you wanted to go to the public beach access on the entire 7 Mile Beach stretch. All of the condos had up these big singular stone post erections that prevented you from parking. Do you remember that? And I posted it, and you put it on your show.
Yes, because we reached out to NRA, and I can tell you the minister, we posted it, yes, and we reached out to NRA and the minister, and he had it actioned. Yeah.
It was actioned in 24 hours.
That's right.
I read and I watched the very next day, every single one of those posts coming down. So I wanted to give him kudos for that as well, because I can personally attest to that one. I mean, I did that video because, yes, they were trying then at that point to oh, well, in other words, we're going to block you from entering by even parking. So now they don't have that excuse. So now they're trying to stop you from going to the public beach access in whatever form, shape, or whatever way that they can, including saying that it's one of the Ritz-Carlton saying, oh, well, it's where the firemen go. It's for them. But if it's for them, then why do you have it chained off? It's just absolutely crazy. It's absurd, and we have watched them get away with this bit by bit by bit. You give an inch, they take a mile. But yeah, I just wanted to give Lorna kudos and remind him that I know he's effective because those posts came down in 24 hours. So now we have another problem, and we need to deal with it and deal with it very hastily. So that was
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, darling. So yes, thank you so much. Lots of comments here. Let me just go back and read a few of these. Aisle 2025 says, yes, have them back on next week. Have them on for longer. About an hour isn't enough. So unfortunately, as he said, he actually had a 9 o'clock. He sits on various committees and so on. So he had a 9 o'clock that they were supposed to attend to. Obviously, they went into a little bit of overtime. Plain and Straight says, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you, says Island Pearl. Shaka Zulu is thanking him as well. Ms. Marjorie says, Minister Jay is doing a great job. Thanks. And Ms. Gloria says, Sandra, book them for every Thursday, okay? We will check with their teams to see when they're available. The key thing, though, here is we want to have what falls under him, National Roads Authority and all these, they need to come on as well. So we're definitely working on it. I know his team is listening keenly to your messages. Ms. Pat says it's so good when we, the people, are able to communicate directly with our representatives. I mean, listen, you guys were here for it. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of the questions and comments, but they were coming in really, really fast and furious. And like I said, I do think his PR team will be going through and having a look at where your comments are, what you've had to say this morning, because that obviously tells them what areas of priority, the public needs. So Lady D says, thank you, Minister. You're doing a great job. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much. All right. Will the DVDL have extra sessions for people to obtain driver's licenses? Carib Guy, I will ask the ministry people that question. Yeah, lots of questions coming in. Here's one that came in that I didn't get to. So sorry, this person said, morning, would like to add my suggestions for road signage. Continuous reminders on the multi-lane roads, reminding drivers, riders to indicate, then changing lanes. And, I'll be honest with you. When it comes to indicating in particular, there is something, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but women are more likely to indicate than men when we drive. Apparently, don't go off of that female driver you saw this weekend, but generally speaking, women tend to be more compliant drivers. And I learned this, I was sitting in court one day when they were doing the Tortuga robbery case, and they were looking at CCTV footage of the vehicle that they knew ended up at the scene of the robbery there in Governor's Square. And they were trying to ascertain who the driver was, and so one of the detectives who, obviously has done some training around behavior analysis and this sort of thing, said that female drivers tend to be more compliant drivers. So the one observation that they made, obviously this isn't hold true in every single case, but the one observation that they made about, someone says we're now back on radio. Thank you, my darling. Thank you. The one observation that they made in relation to this was that she kept, every time she took a turn, anything she did, she would use her indicators. She was stopping, giving way. Like she was despite the fact that she was on her way to rob Tortuga, which obviously criminal behavior. She was very, very compliant on the way there as the driver. She was the getaway car. She was the driver. She was the mastermind behind the whole thing. And I thought that that was so interesting. And when I even think about behaviors, like when I'm driving with Marlon, right? I always say to him, why aren't you using your indicators more? Honey child, when he's driving my car, I'm like, please put on your indicator. Let people know what you intend to do. I'm an indicator person, honey child. I'm like, listen, if I'm about to turn, I'm putting that indicator on so you know, even in a roundabout, because people do different things in a roundabout. I indicate in a roundabout. You know that one that everybody has an accent that it's Butterfield, but everybody calls it A.L. Thompson's roundabout right there. You know, that one people get confused. They'd be trying to cut across lanes. When I get in that roundabout in particular, I'm looking, I'm paying attention, I'm checking this side and trying to figure out what people are doing. But the one thing I always do is I use my indicator. If I'm going Cayman Bay, right, I'm going to put on my indicator. So the people there who are stopped, they know I'm not going around to Industrial Parkway. I'm not circling all the way around the roundabout again. Use your indicators. I mean, for real, right? So thank you so much for reminding people, if you're changing lanes, if you are going to go a particular direction, that's where your indicators are supposed to be used. So I implore you to please use your indicators. Also, they go on to say, reminding drivers/riders that it is illegal to change lanes on a solid white, yellow, or double lines. Again, traffic. I mean, these are common things, if you know how to drive on the roadway, that you should be able to know. And is there an email address that is monitored that people can send their suggestions to? I'll ask the ministry staff. But you know, these are, I think what we need is we need ongoing and constant public public service messages around these types of things. Use your indicator, right? Give way in a roundabout to the right. Just like keep it in the front of people's minds at all times. AJ says, I also use my indicator when I'm reversing. When you're reversing, let me think about this. When you're reversing, you're using it to indicate what? I don't think I ever use it when I'm reversing, because obviously I'm reversing, but what would your indicator tell people when you're reversing exactly? Okay, that's kind of different, AJ. I'd like to hear the logic behind that one because I'm not too sure. Strong Will says, please leave Marlon out. Hello. When you see it, and again, I think it's a combination of male drivers, not for nothing, but he's been here a hot minute now, 15 plus years, but still, he grew up, those formative years, grew up in Jamaica. They make up their own lanes. Jamaica has some of the wildest driving I have seen. And I've seen some wild driving. But so does India. Like all these big cities, child, they all over the place. They don't have lanes. They just make stuff up. They go in between. And I'm like, what kind of driving is this? I've never driven in Jamaica, and I'm not sure that I could. Because I'm like, where's the lane? Like, why aren't people staying in their lane? And they're reversing on the main road. And it's like, what? Stopping and just letting people jump in and out. And I'm just like, what the what? Ugh. Anyway, lots of interesting driving. So backing out of a parking spot, the direction in which the tail of your car is going. I've never really seen anybody doing that, but okay. All right, interesting. Okay. The other thing, AJ, is when you do back out, to let people know. I find that a lot of people are not paying attention. So they're backing out kind of like recklessly. They don't look to make sure that they've got proper clearance. And then I also see a lot of people walking in front of a vehicle, and, pedestrians also need to be careful, because sometimes they walk and you're like, do you not see that car was about to back up and make a particular move? Men are the best drivers, according to El Ray. Lyatell. Most accidents, again, we don't have the statistical information, but it would be interesting to see. Are most accidents male or female? I know most fatalities are male drivers, because y'all have a need for speed. I'm just saying. Mhm. So I wouldn't say that y'all are the best drivers. Y'all are, men tend to take more risk. Marshall says, I want to congratulate Jay on the great job that he's done in North Side. Look how long and how many politicians over the years that never did anything for North Side. So yes, I mean, I think, even the other day when I went up there and I hadn't been to North Side in a minute, I was very, very surprised to feel the speed bump that slowed me right down. I was like, where'd this come from? And it reminded me in real time to check myself, make sure, slow down. Mr. Amelia says they make up their own lanes. I see it all the time. Greg says Nigeria has the worst drivers in the world. Oh, maybe so. I've never been to Nigeria, so I'll take your word for it. But I think a lot of it's just like, a lot of cities, big cities, they just drive. They kind of make it up as they go along. Shaka says, Auntie Sandy, might I suggest you post a list of ministries being represented when the ministers are on, so as to facilitate the relevant questions for those who are not certain of the representation. So we did say it at the beginning of the show, what PLAHI stands for. So I don't know if you missed that. But yes, I mean, if we need to do a visual, because there's a lot of things that fall under that, not just the broad ministerial areas. So for example, PLAHI is planning, lands, PL, agriculture, housing, infrastructure. But under the subsection, so he's got NRA, DVDL. So that's not a bad idea to maybe give all of those subcategories, because when he mentioned, for example, that licensing DCI falls under the premier, I had forgotten that actually. So that's a good point. That's a fair comment, Shaka. We'll work on that. Where can I find the video showing beach access being blocked? So I think someone has definitely sent this to me as well. My apologies. Some days and some weeks are a little bit hard to get through all the messaging, but I did see something come in on the WhatsApp about Miss Lorna doing these videos. I don't know if it's just one that she's done, or she's going to different locations and checking beach access points. But this continues to be an ongoing problem. So I'm really pleased to hear that we might actually finally have some solution for this. I think that it should be clearly delineated, as the minister said, that this is a public access point to the beach. We should do something where it's like unique coloring. It's obvious that it's a government sign and so on. And then it should be an offense to actually disturb the signage in any way. It should be an offense to block public access to beaches. Like, let's make it a $10,000 plus fine for anyone to try to block public access, beach access. Hit them where it hurts, in their pocketbooks. Okay. Anybody who does that should be fined very, very heavily. Jordan says, when is the DVDL going to have a proper road course for people to learn and practice driving? Well, that's actually not the responsibility of the DVDL, believe it or not. The DVDL is not responsible for teaching you how to drive. They're just responsible for giving you the test to ensure you pass the minimum requirement of being able to drive. And then, from there, you're kind of on your own when it comes to learning how to drive. There are driving schools around. So I guess if you check those out, sounds like we need more of them, but they are available as well. Gabby says, nope, Honduras is the worst. I guess we can all have opinions about that. El Ray says, women get in accidents during daily regular driving, men only when stunting or madman driving. Yes, but you guys tend to have more fatalities. And I don't know, again, we don't have the statistics to back that up. So I don't know really, El Ray, even of the 10 accidents per day, I can tell you the ones that I know about, like in our household, where we've been victims of, they've all been male drivers. They rear-ending people. They were all male drivers. None of them were female. I'm just saying. So I don't know if you're on point or not. But again, if we don't have these data points, the RCIPS needs to start collecting who's involved in the accident. CJ Cooper says happens to be most of the Honda Fit accidents are female drivers. Thus the meme of meet the moms. Go figure. I'm not too sure, Like I said, I'm suspicious of this. But, I can't say you're wrong and I can't say you're right because it's all colloquial in nature, right? The posts did come down, but were replaced with other no parking signs. Which posts are we referring to, Drone K-Man? Morning, Miss Darlene. Danelia says everybody can turn driving teacher. That business needs to be heavily regulated too. The minimum, says Jordan, driving requirement standards are too low. And yeah, I mean, again, I think that most of the people who get these little Honda Fits, unfortunately, they don't have a whole lot of driving experience. Most of them did not drive coming from where they've come from. I mean, let's be honest. The vast majority of Honda Fit drivers are actually expat drivers. Agreed? If we had to be just straight with it, right? Because they are on the cheaper side, less expensive. Get you where you need to go. You can car share in those, whatever. And so I wonder how many of those individuals actually had driving experience before they ever came to Cayman. I've seen people try to maneuver out of a parking spot in a Honda Fit or even the little small Suzuki cars, and you would swear that they were driving a Hummer because they don't even know how to get out of the spot. Like, I have literally gotten out of my car before and be like, let me help you get out of this parking spot because you don't know how to drive. The Honda Fits are the smallest cars on the island. And yet they go into a parking spot and they don't know how to get out. They struggle with parking and driving such a small vehicle because they just don't have the road experience. Forget about parallel parking. Now you're asking way too much. They can't parallel park to save their lives. I'm like, all these cars have power steering now. So it's not like remember back in the old days, some of y'all remember this. When I was learning how to drive, honey child, there was no power steering. And my aunt had one big time Chrysler. Geez, I'm peace. But you know what? I took driver's ed. And I remember the first couple lessons of driver's ed, we didn't touch the car. We didn't get on the road. You know what we actually sat down and did? Watched all these videos of people mangled in metal. And that has stayed with me a lot. Yeah? Mangled in metal. When you get in an accident, when you're not paying attention, this is what is going to happen. You're going to end up dead. Then they interviewed people who were in prison for DUI. I was scared to death. I was like, do I really want to get behind the wheel of a car? Listen, they were like, before we go on the roadway, let's talk about the seriousness of what you are about to do. Pay attention. Because your life should matter. Other people's lives on the roadway. And boy, you see a couple dead bodies in a vehicle, you have respect right away for that 2 ton, 5 ton, whatever number tonnage that metal car is. Yeah, you're going to respect that car and you're going to be a better and safer driver. Auntie, can you drive in the States? Yes, I'm telling you, I learned to drive when I was a teenager living in America. Of course, I drive in the States. Driver's ed. And I remember it so vividly. There was a guy in my class. Oh, I had a crush on him. He was so cute. And I can't remember his name now. He's Spanish. I do know he's Spanish. I cannot remember his name now. George, Jose, Jorge. I don't know. But what I really liked about him, he was in my driver's ed class. That's how I met him. He had a little, was it a sister or brother? I think it was a sister. So we would have been like 16 when we were learning how to drive. And his mom had just had a baby. So it was only him. And then his mom had a baby. She was like a toddler, you know, and he was so like the best big brother, always wanted to take care of his little sister. And I was like, "Aw, that is so sweet." He was always talking about, "Oh, you know, my mom had a baby. This is my little sister." I was like, "Oh, you're so sweet," you know? Yeah. But listen, when I was on the road, I wasn't looking at him talking about he's cute. I was like this, paying attention, both hands on the wheel. And of course, we went out in groups. And back then they had, I don't remember if the driver's ed car had a steering wheel on the other side or just brakes, but it was like a proper driver's ed car. Yeah. So, and our driver's ed teacher, he wasn't messing around. He's like, you pay attention when you're in this car. You get in, you put on your seatbelt, you check your mirrors, you adjust your seat if you need to, adjust your mirrors, check your side mirrors. Somebody mentioned earlier, you know, you should be checking your mirrors and looking around every 12 to 15 seconds. How many of us do that? So there are things that we can all do to be better drivers. What does one say? That is what Sean Will said. That's it. That's is my you choose Marlon because he has straight. You like straight hair, man. Actually, he has curly hair. Marlon has the best curls. He's got nice curls, nice waves. He has a full head of hair. I love men with a full head of hair. It's not about whether it's straight or not, but I love a man that's got a full head of hair. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I love hair. I love people with beautiful hair. Man or woman, to be honest. I just love people with beautiful hair. That reminds me of, okay, since we're going to talk about my crushes. When I was in high school, I had a crush on a guy. I think he was Middle Eastern Arabic background. And he also had a lot of hair. Good head of hair. But you know what he had that made him so unique and interesting, strong-willed, is he had a white patch. It was like a genetic thing. He was in music class I think this was in the first year of high school. I did piano keyboarding. And he had a white patch, like right here. Like the whole thing was just like a white patch. And I always thought, oh my God, that is so different and unique. And then the olive skin and, you know, just handsome. Absolutely handsome. All right. Plain and straight. You guys get to hear about everybody. I think that's so handsome. Many of these expats never expected to be able to get a driver's license in their lifetime, much less own a car, says Plain and Straight. Lord have mercy. Ms. Patricia says, can you remind pedestrians using the crosswalk that their car is made of plastic and iron, not to press the button and step immediately in the road? I saw a lady almost getting knocked down this morning. That this car made of plastic and iron. Listen, common sense, not so common. So yes, I mean, you press the button, you should wait and look in both directions. Any of you teaching your children how to properly use a pedestrian walkway? Every opportunity I get, because my daughter's only 9 years old. So whether we're here in Cayman crossing the street or, you know, the other day we're crossing it in Cayman Bay, I had to stop her. I'm like, no, you stop. This one didn't have the button to press, but it was still a little walkway. I'm like, you stop and you look in both directions. When you go to the States, heaven forbid, you're walking on the street anywhere, you got to stop and look in both directions to make sure it is safe to cross. So pay attention. Jordan says Finland is widely considered the gold standard. It takes up to 3 years to get a full license and includes mandatory training for skid control and night driving. Wow, 3 years. Interesting. Okay. Gabby weighs in. She says most Hondas are owned by Jamaican men. Sorry, not sorry. And they're the worst drivers here. What a hot mess. Let me see here. If common sense was common, more people would have it. Cayman, Maryland, for real. It's lacking and people just don't think at all anymore. Like people just So please, yes, learn how to use a pedestrian. Mhm. Mhm. Okay, let me see. Somebody said, no wonder you're good friends with Mary as she has beautiful hair. That is funny. I'm not so sure that that was a determining factor in our friendship. She's just an amazing person. And we go way back to Maples, but she does have beautiful hair. Absolutely. Gorgeous, gorgeous hair. Someone says, yes, they do a 50-point turn to reverse out of a parking space, and it's always a tiny female Filipino. Oh, God. Here's another person says the smallest cars and can't get out, almost tearing off the side of the car beside them. It just comes down to practice. So someone also reminded that this ministry has transportation, which we did want to get a little bit to about public transportation reform, but we'll save that for next week then. They have public transport and ports as well. So they have ports, air, land, and sea. And yeah. So public transport appeals tribunal. Oh, is this a current position? Oh, send that to me so I can post that. There seems to be a vacancy there. Okay. Wow, so many comments. Good day. John Gray High School expects too much when it comes to their dress down days. They complain about the wrong footwear. Oh Lord. Okay, I'll review that one later. Good morning. Okay. Let me see what else we got here. Can you please inquire with NRA why unexpected was hired as department director? What do you mean expected of NRA when we have 2 qualified Caymanians? Okay, let me reread this. I think they meant to say an expat, not expected. Can you please inquire with NRA why an expat, maybe, was hired as deputy director, not department, deputy. Try and fill out the full word, honey child, because DEPT is short for department, but I think you meant deputy director of NRA. When we have 2 qualified Caymanian employees whose qualifications for the job, who qualified the job and applied, Mr. Jackson and Mr. Brian Chin. Please keep me anonymous. Did they both apply for the job though? I mean, sometimes these people don't apply for jobs. I don't know. I'm just asking the question as someone who doesn't really know. But you know, normally they can't just release information on hiring quite like that, but okay. Oh my Lord, have mercy. I'm so sorry. All right. Don't need to say my name. That's okay. Accents are caused by Asians. Oh, so let's see here. Good morning. All right. So this person, police officer, so maybe they know a bit more than the rest of us. They said, hey, you don't need to say my name if that's okay. However, most of the accents here are not caused by Asians, but other nationalities. I'm curious to know if you had to name the top 3 nationalities, what would it be? Because I'm curious. I think that, to be fair to the little Filipino drivers and stuff, they might not be like the best at certain maneuvers, like getting out of vehicles and stuff like that. But they're probably not the ones having all the accidents either. So I'm curious as to who in this person's, they are in a better position because they're police. And I think they actually might do traffic. You know, who do they think? It's interesting. Shaka says, I agree with Jordan, and Germany is not very different, especially with almost 4,000 driver's license costs. 4,000 euros? 4,000 euros to get a driver's license? Wow. Yes, thank you. For me, I think court is at 4 o'clock. I think. Because I have a case management hearing. I think it's at 4 o'clock. So they don't do those, like they do like mentions and stuff in the morning. All right. But yes, I gotta make sure I get there, child. I want the court issuing the warrant for me. Someone says in Canada, it is 20 to 36 months to get a full driver's license. Wow, I had no idea. It's interesting to see how the rest of the world treats these things. So let's read this one. So they share that, one second here. So in Ontario, in Canada, it's 20 to 36 months to get a full driver's license. Ontario, it's like 20 to 24 months to complete as you go from a G1 to G2 before taking the final G road test. Oh, so they have like a step up system. Interesting. I had to do this, and I've been driving for 3 years before moving and had to go through the process, although I skipped G1 and 2 to get to the G road test. That's interesting. So like yeah, okay. I mean, I don't even know, like, how did you get, you know, the big operator truck licenses? I think those are the only ones that are kind of strict. Like you have to prove certain things in order to get those. But I think your average driver's license, you just kind of show up if you pass the test and you pass the minimal driving test, and that's it. Now the top one for me is Jamaicans. They are horrible and the worst drivers in Cayman. Miss Lucy says, send CMR link to Gloria Smith phone, but she was on the thing. So why? She obviously sees the link. Oh, police are on the scene? Scene of what? We got some sus. Oh my God. Lord Jesus, I cannot make this shit up. Here we are talking about bad drivers. And let me show you what somebody's just sent in. Oh my God. Hold on. I don't make it up. I'm just here to tell y'all. Look at this. Here we are right now talking about bad drivers. And look here. 1 second. Look at that. Straight into the wall of cost you less. Seriously? Not an Asian or Filipino to be in sight. I bet you that's a Jamaican driver. I'm sorry. Gabby says, see, I bet you it's a Jamaican. You would have won that bet this morning. I bet you one patty and a Jupina. OMG. What? How you gonna mash up your little car? At least it's not a Honda Fit. I don't know what it is, but it's not a Honda Fit. But how you gonna mash up your little car in the side of this building? On the phone? I don't know, because I think maybe they missed, this is coming by that roundabout, right? So maybe they were going too fast and lost control coming in the roundabout. Slow down. NRA has put strips pretty much in all of these roundabouts to force you all to slow the heck down. And look at that. That looks like a BMW? Really? I don't know what it is, but NOSA? I mean, here we are right now talking about this, and there you go. NOSA? This person says, I love what you say about pedestrian crossings. Persons are using the crossings the wrong way. They need to stop, look, press the button for the lights to activate, and wait until the vehicle stops. A lot of distracted drivers are on our roads, and we should never assume that they see us at the crossings. Your safety is your priority. Stop, look, and press, and then walk when the vehicles stop. And I like that because I'll tell you what I try to do is I try to make eye contact with the drivers. So, you think people are about to stop, and sometimes they don't see you because they're distracted drivers. And so they keep going right through that crosswalk. And so if you try to, when you look, you make eye contact with them. That's like, do you see me? Sometimes I even use a hand gesture, like I put up my hand to say, hello, I'm here. So that way, when they see me, they're like, yeah, okay. So come on, folks, do better with the crosswalks. Toyota Mark X says, Andrew, I don't know what that car is. Somebody said maybe it's an Audi. No clue. Still looking for the $3.99 bed sheet special. Elry. Jordan says, don't. An Audi? Is it an Audi? I don't know, but that's some bad driving. Exactly. So why come here feeling entitled when their countries have strict rules in place? So why should we just not take the extra step to protect our roads? Well, Lady D, let's also be honest that some of the worst drivers, this is what I think in terms of the worst drivers. Somebody said they're going to try to get me the list. They're police. They're going to let me know. I think Jamaicans are in the number one spot. Caymanians, hello. You know that enough of y'all don't know how to drive either. I'm going to go Jamaicans, Caymanians, and then tourists. I'm going to lump them together. And then in number 4, I'm going to say the Filipino community. If I had to pick the top 4, that's the order I'd put them in. Jamaicans, Caymanians, tourists, because they always confuse, driving on the down the wrong way. I mean, yeah, they don't know how to use a roundabout. So I think they are just more likely to have an accident being, in a foreign situation. And then after that, then I would say the Filipinos, just because they're such a large population. And yeah, some of them have never driven in their lives either. So that would be my top 4. But you realize Caymanians in the mix too, Mm-hmm. The distracted driving, the not paying attention, yelling at the kids in the back of the car, looking back and yelling at them and go run up in somebody. Mm-hmm. Not giving enough car length between vehicles. So, all of that happens. Just trying to get by says this show seems to be very anti-immigrant. It's not. It's not at all. If you were a regular listener to the program, you would know that that's not the case. AJ says it looks like an Audi. If that happened in the US, that car would have been inside the building because of how cheaply they design their buildings. Cayman seems to be trying to reinvent the wheel when it comes to driver's license and traffic systems, whilst countries like Germany set the gold standard for operating vehicles in public spaces. For example, the Autobahn. And Audi, that expensive car, hope they have insurance because y'all be driving y'all rich on insurance. What? El Rey says Caymanians, they the best drivers. No, they're not. No. Not at all. All right. Well, continue to be safe out there, folks. Slow down. Take your time. And yeah. Yeah, so I also missed the microchipping day. I don't know if they're going to have this again, but I hope they do. I'll check with some of the pet people to see if they'll be having this again, because I need to get Zeus microchip. Definitely. And it was a good deal. It was only like $10. I don't know how I missed it. But yeah. Oh, shoot. Okay, hold on. I think you have to ring the bell. All right, folks, I am going to run. I got a full day ahead of me. I got quite a few emails I need to respond to and some paperwork to submit today. And yeah. So Lady D says these pedestrian crossings are put in the wrong location. Why put them on the exit of a roundabout? They should put them further away from approaching or exiting a roundabout. I don't think that that's right, though. Normally, they don't put them anywhere near a roundabout if they can help it, because that's a recipe for disaster. But for example, I'm thinking about the one by A.L. Thompson's. That's a good distance from the actual roundabout. It's still a very congested area. And it's the only way to kind of cross over there, I think, because they have the dog walkers and stuff. That's one of the reasons that they put that there as well. But yeah. All right. I have to wonder about her comments sometimes. They just aren't making any sense. Whose comments? Just call them mobile vets. They do microchipping? But I'm looking for a deal. I'm looking for the $10 special. Everybody trying to save money these days, Irvelin. Everybody's trying to save money. All right. So let me see here now. Someone says, let me in. But I think you got to ring the doorbell for me to see it. All right. Let me see if I can find it. All right, folks. I'm going to run. I'm busy. And I know you guys need to get to work as well. So please enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Tune in for tomorrow. We're going to have a special for education. This person says the one off of the CNB roundabout is in a bad place. The CNB roundabout, which the one coming up to Midtown Plaza, Farmers Market and Education Building. Oh, yes. Yeah. I agree that one should have been further. But that whole little strip right there, I'm not so sure a roundabout should go there, because again, that's really, really difficult. You know, because you have like 3 lanes, you have people coming. I don't think you can't turn there because they put a little sidewalk thing there, the little divider, so you can't turn there anymore. But yeah, that's a tough one. But I'm trying to remember how that roundabout looks. Don't they have a piece in the middle where you stop in the middle, and then you can, like, instead of just walking straight, they have like a little piece where if you need to stop, you stop and then you continue on. I need to get a visual of that roundabout again. The crosswalk, my apologies. We should even do videos on how to properly use a crosswalk, because again, you'd be surprised. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay. I don't know who y'all talking about. To get over. Okay, y'all need to stop fighting. Cut it out. Cut out the fighting. Cut out the fighting in the comment section. All right, get back to work. We all need y'all to work and earn some money and pay your bills. We all got bills to pay. Pay them on time, honey chill. And we will see you guys tomorrow. So tune in tomorrow. There's the education conference, which we'll be live streaming on the program tomorrow morning. Okay, folks. Have a good one. Newlands is the worst roundabout. Lord have mercy. Have a blessed day, folks. See you guys tomorrow morning. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels. And visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.